Howdy, Heroes Heart. This is Kyle Fergusson. Today I'm sitting down with Wildheart Omega's Reb, a Kerrigan game. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait, I've seen this match before. You have, but not from this viewpoint. We talked to Lupus last week. This is from the Storm Division Game 1 versus Anti-Clown Association. I'm excited. Thank you for joining me, Reb.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Kerrigan is always, well, in the last year anyway, been floating around the top win rates on our various aggregate sites. So it's really exciting to get to talk to you about her. It's Infernal Shrines, which has a long legacy of Kerrigan play. Is it kind of the same as we used to know it from HGC days?
Yeah, like Kerrigan's good here. She can just kind of jump around on the shrine minions and stuff, get a ton of mobility on the objective fights. And the map just like lends itself really well to Kerrigan and her kit.
And you pick Kerrigan in solo queue Grandmasters?
Yeah, like very often I do.
Is that hard? is that trouble?
I actually find like a lot of times with Kerrigan, playing like on my GM account versus playing on like a Smurf in Diamond or something, that it's like half the time it's easier in GM because a lot of times in the lower ranks you'll like combo somebody with Kerrigan and then none of your team will focus them and they'll just turn around, stop getting stunned and turn around and kill you because you're so weak early. But in GM you can like land the combo, your whole team hits them and then they just kind of die.
So more of a respect in the high leagues for the CC Kerrigan's bringing, whereas lower leagues maybe expect Kerrigan to dive and there to be damage and her to do it all herself.
Yeah, your team has to sort of come along with you, especially against like better players, to actually finish kills. Otherwise you just die. You're pretty squishy when you're not doing a ton of damage.
In this double support situation, is that something you look for in Kerrigan? Like, if you saw a double support being cooked up in the draft, it just randomly happens, two people hover support, and they're like, yeah, let's do this. Does that push you towards Kerrigan more than, say, solo support, basic tank kind of situation?
I wouldn't say, like, in general, with the Uther specifically, Uther's, like, really good with Kerrigan, because your Uther can give you a D-shield, can give you a cleanse when you get CC and stuff, keep you in the fight for a long time and just let you pop off and do what you need to do to get damage in.
Some dings already starting to roll, and this seems like the go-to strategy, so I want to talk about it here. Sharpened Blades. Ravage kills give Kerrigan increased damage.
Yeah, so that's just like, I think it's like by far the best talent on the tier. When you finish that quest, it's like an extra 125 damage on your Qs. And with the 7 we take Boundless Fury, you get 3 Qs. So that's like 375 extra damage on your combo, which is just way more than the other talents do.
So it's just pure damage. It has no other effects here.
Yeah, well, it helps a bit with like clearing shrine minions as well, but yeah, it's just big damage.
Is there an exact pattern to it? Like once quest complete, you're now to dive 1 auto attack, dive 1 auto attack, before that you're at dive 2 auto attacks?
No, like not. It's pretty much always just like dive off, like Q auto type deal, but it's just like a lot more damage once you get the extra 50 from finishing your quest.
Interesting. That's deceptive because I think we all trash on things like convection so much that seeing a flat damage talent, we all go, oh, that can't possibly be what I want.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just so strong on Kerrigan because you have so many Qs and you're just pressing that button so much.
So I often see in Kerrigan's, particularly in that NGS sphere, that they actually double soak during the initial objective. So why did you end up here rather than in that situation?
Well, so yeah, a lot of times you do want double soak. We came and took the fight early. We were kind of just already in position to do that, and the Chen was already clearing up top.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of times on this map in particular, it is good to double soak early to get your quests going. But it's not like, a lot of people also get really baited into just like only doing quests the entire game, which is a problem sometimes.
I guess here too, you also get quest completion for hitting heroes. So in that situation where
you can get picks.
Yeah, so if you saw a superior situation evolving where you were actually going to get kills, which is what happened, you basically got some quest progress done. Plus, as you mentioned, Chen stuck top versus the Merc camp. Tell me about level 1 here. Fury of the Swarm.
Yeah, so it's like really good wave clear as well because it splashes your autos, so it helps you clear waves fast, and it really helps on the shrine as well. I think it's also just a lot more value than the other two talents. There are some like weird strats where people pick the globe talent with Alex Straza and the talent that makes your W spawn globes, but pretty much it's like only ever Fury of the Swarm.
Yeah,
you don't ever pick the other two.
That sounds pretty extreme, huh? So you get splashing autos, which go to shields, right? Autos equal shields. It's all basic attacks abilities. Cool.
Yeah, everything, all your damage gets your shields.
So I can see how just splashing autos instantly means more lane clear, but also more general shields. You're hitting multiple heroes, equaling more shielding. Nothing else really compares then.
Yeah, it's like by far the best talent.
Then you deal more damage, which equals more shields with sharpened blades. And then you grab Boundless Fury. Hitting an enemy hero with Ravage grants a charge of Ravage. Can occur once every 10 seconds per hero. What's a charge of Ravage?
Well, your Q has two charges to begin with, and so
okay.
You just get a free Q on every hero basically once every 10 seconds. So it's just a ton of extra mobility in team fights.
And that's that little symbol we saw in Hogger there.
Yeah.
It looks like bullets. It looks like 3 bullets crossed out. Does not look like a Kerrigan thing.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I never looked at it before, but it is kind of a weird symbol.
Now, awesome move. Going over the wall there with the Divine Shield and all that.
Yeah, Lupus said, go ham, so I went in.
So, yeah, you obeyed the healer/tank's request. Okay, so that's giving you a free target, kind of like a high five sort of situation. You can hit each hero once and jump around to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Then that's all shielding, converting back to the survivability with the splashing going on. So it's kind of a DPS Mal'Ganis. It must be really hard to balance Kerrigan because she has everything so interwoven.
Yeah, like all the melee assassins are gotta be a pain for the balance team to deal with, I'm sure.
Now you just ran out of mana though. Is that a pretty common problem?
Yeah, she's fairly mana hungry. If you're like comboing a lot, or if you're like missing resets on your Qs, like you're missing killing minions or something, you run out of mana really quickly. Once you get to the later game, it's not really that big of a deal, but when you're sitting around just clearing minions and using all your buttons, it eats away pretty quick.
There's usually one ability on these heroes that we all use for lane clear, and we all run out of mana. So Impaling Blades at 80 mana cost, probably not a lane clear ability.
Yeah, most of the time for lane clear, you want to use your E, actually. It does more damage than your W. It has a lower cooldown. And so you just E the whole wave into you, and then kind of like Q the globe minion, and then just sort of splash auto on the back line and finish those off, and then finish off the frontline minions.
That makes sense.
That helps a lot with sustain.
Because you would drag the minions together from their 6 kind of box stack.
Yeah, so just like I'm doing here.
Yeah.
You want to just group them together and then Q them down.
So with a quick Hogger kill there, team's basically like, okay, Kerrigan, now is your chance. Let's go get that quest done.
Yeah, so I just go stack. We have really good shrine clear already with Chen and Mephisto splash autos. It's good enough, so we don't need the whole team there.
Wow, that goes pretty fast, that lane clear now.
Yeah.
So during a down moment here, let's talk about level 10, because it was a long time that the other ability did not exist, and now Summon Ultralisk is the go-to.
Yeah, just the extra CC is so good. It like sets up a combo for like if you hit it, it's just a free combo pretty much, and the extra CC is really good as well.
Is there a time you would use it? It's got a little bit of a wind up. It's a skill shot, but it's not quite as slow as Mind Control Sylvanas.
Yeah, it's a fairly fast skill shot. It's definitely dodgeable, but it's like it's easier to hit your ult than it is to just hit a raw combo.
Do you find yourself actively controlling it once it's out, or do you ride the initial stun and then say, all right, I've got better things to focus on?
I mean, like, I try to control it, but sometimes there's a lot of other stuff going on, and a lot of times I'll, like, combo, kill somebody, and then go, oh yeah, I got my Ultralisk to control, let's run this at somebody or something, but it's not, like, super important that you control them.
And that's what I'm curious about, right? While I'm trying to spare my noobish APM to learn Kerrigan.
Yeah, if you're like not a Kerrigan god, I wouldn't worry about it that much. after you shoot it out, just let it do whatever it does.
Would you still say that learning that would be better than taking Maelstrom as my training wheels?
It's maybe if you're having trouble landing combos, it's really helpful for that because your ult it's just a straight line, right? And then you can set up the combo off that. I would say Maelstrom's pretty good against like really high mobility targets, like a Tracer or something. I would consider that because you can Q the Tracer like 3 times to keep up with your blinks, and you're constantly doing the extra damage from Maelstrom.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think of it. That's almost backwards from what I would expect out of Maelstrom. I would want like lots of beefy, slow enemies that I could sit on top of.
Yeah, like 99% of games it's going to be Ultralisk, I would say, but like in like the 1% you can maybe consider Maelstrom if you're like having a lot of trouble dealing with high mobility heroes.
Fascinating. That's pretty cool. Level 13, you picked up the Chrysalis, which is when you hide inside, well, the Zerg egg business, and you regenerate a bunch of health, and it can be broken early by you, correct?
Yeah, it's like just like an ice block basically with a couple extra steps.
Okay. This is sort of a survivability force level. Would you ever go any of the others?
No, I wouldn't. Chrysalis is so good. You can like dodge CC abilities with it, dodge skill shots with it. It's just so big for her survivability.
Sonic Barrier, in fact, is even just movement speed and grants, I guess, spell armor. Oh,
yeah.
Are there any of these that you say, yes, that's something I'd want, but it's just not enough? Like a pure numbers tweak would make you want these other things?
Maybe. I mean, like if the I would say Sonic Barrier is probably not that good unless there's just a ton of spell damage. Like the move speed's not that useful when you have Q to gap close on people. The Shield's talent, Volatile Power, could be good if there's like if it got buffed a ton. I could see that being good. Just getting insane amounts of shields up everything.
Interesting that it has a downside to it as well.
Yeah, that doesn't matter a ton. It's like it hurts a bit if you're like stacking up a big shield on a minion wave or something and then go to a fight, but it's not super problematic.
Oh, at 6 seconds then, yeah. So you're not farming this in a distant lane and then saying, all right, guys, I'm ready for team fight anyway.
Yeah.
So the game's going on. Things are getting, pretty in y'all's favor. They've got a lot of pressure on their core. What on the enemy side are you afraid of?
So if we're thinking now, basically, like a late game gust could be an issue. A level 20 gust into a wall could really cause problems for our team. Or them hitting like a big wailing arrow on Uther and then blowing someone else up or something like that. So that's something we gotta watch out for. Other than that, there's not a ton they can do to me just because I have so much support with me, right? I have the Divine Shield, I have Stukov doing stuff. Chen's lowering their spell power too, so they can't really do any damage to us.
Oh, I didn't. Wait, Ignite reduces spell power by 60% at level 4?
Yeah, that talent's really good against like spell damage focused teams.
Yeah, that's a bit. Now you've got a proc going right now, some Unbridled Energy, perfect talent name. Damaging a hero with a heroic ability grants 35% spell power for 4 seconds.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the pick again, like most of the time, I would say. The only other time is if you're like landing combos like crazy. Painful Spikes can be, and brawling constantly. Painful Spikes can be all right-ish. It is like about the same amount of damage, but it's not tied to your like 80-second cooldown ultimate. It's just a bunch of damage. But yeah, Unbridled Energy is super good. You don't even have to land a combo when you do a ton of damage with this talent. You just like RQE if your W doesn't, or WE if your W doesn't hit. Doesn't matter. You still get the pulse damage from your E, and your triple Q. It does a ton of damage on squishies.
Wow, and this is just any heroic damage. So your Ultralisk running around doing its little baby hits.
Yeah, exactly.
Triggering you to have bonus power there. Wild stuff. You guys are now, being forced back a little bit. There's the Punisher phase. This is something that I think Kerrigans don't think about much when they think of Infernal Shrines. They think, I'm going to win every shrine because I'm Kerrigan and I have my resets. How does Kerrigan actually help with the defend here, and what's kind of your thoughts on the opposite side of Infernal Shrines?
Well, she's not the best at defending, right? Being a melee hero, it's kind of hard. If you have like a wall up in the lane that the Punisher's coming down, it can, like, the Punisher can just get baited over, and then you can auto it and do a bit of damage. You don't have terrible damage on it, but it's not amazing, I would say.
Is there any other maps where Kerrigan, I mean, clearly you know Kerrigan a lot, so what other maps would you take Kerrigan on, and what maps would you avoid?
So Kerrigan is like really good when you can jump around on a bunch of little dudes in the team fights to get a ton of mobility. So like the monkeys on Infernal Shrines, and then on maps like Tomb, where you're fighting in a lane a lot, there's lots of minions for you to jump around on. I would say that's your other best map. Outside of that, the rest of the 3-lane maps, I would say, are average, and then the 2-lane maps, I would generally try to avoid her as much as you can, like Hanamura and BOE, because there's just no opportunity to stack your 4, and there's like no minions for you to jump around in the team fight, so you have like pretty low mobility.
You didn't mention Braxis there. Is that a special situation?
Yeah, Braxis is bad too.
Okay.
She's pretty bad early game too. So on Braxis, she has trouble, like, it's such an early game focused map, so it's kind of hard for her to stick around early.
Do you have a go-to hero when you're off Kerrigan?
I mean, I play a lot of stuff. I'm not like a Kerrigan one trick.
Okay.
I play a lot of heroes.
So some people are dedicated. They're not one tricks, but they're dedicated to being weird. So they're Kerrigan mains, but then they always pick Maiev or Illidan on the side. You're saying that you're willing to pick meta things if forced off it for the map.
Yeah, for sure.
Level 20, you got the Psionic Shift. Activate to teleport to a nearby location, dealing damage to enemies, generating 300% increased assimilation shields. I have lost games because this thing landed well.
Yeah, just the extra mobility is so insane. If you you can just dive behind people that don't expect it and land a combo. It really helps set that up as well. And the shields is the shield is not like the primary reason you pick it. It's more for just the blink. But yeah, the burst of mobility is just insane.
We can't see it here in the replay. What would you say the range is on this thing? It's not giant. Most bolts aren't.
No, it's probably about the same range as your E. Maybe a little less. But it's a pretty short range blink, but it's still like just the mobility to surprise people and stuff. It's pretty good.
Just to create that position no one expected, get that angle that no one expected.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever break this? Go with upgraded ult if you go Mega Storm, anything like that?
No, not really. It's like the blink is just, it's so good.
Kerrigan seems pretty good at these kind of hunting moments with the CC she brings. I understand why the enemy team is scouting it out with invisible friends as best they can rather than investing.
Yeah, they're just kind of sharking around. There's not much going on the map, so we're just kind of waiting for the objective.
Is that kind of the late game Kerrigan thing? I mean, everyone in Grandmaster has to respect your power out of a bush. There's probably a lot of wandering around seeing who messes up first.
Yeah, there's like a bit of that. One thing with Kerrigan is that a lot of times when you jump in, if you just like randomly, both teams are just looking at each other and then you jump in with all their cooldowns up. Like if I just jumped at them and pressed my buttons right now, I would eat a polymorph, eat a wailing arrow, eat a full Diablo combo, right? So I couldn't, like you kind of want to wait for your moment with Kerrigan sometimes.
That makes perfect sense. Now this is definitely a coordinated play moment where you guys have not succumbed to the, oh my goodness, that Sylvanas was available and everyone splits and doesn't kill anything. Definitely a team play moment there.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, here, why not go down the middle?
Well, they still have like 3 people up, right?
Okay.
Our wave's pretty pushed. It's like a little scary, but we also have like really fast shrine clear too, so we can get this merchant on the lane before they're even up. Probably at the keep before the Augur's alive.
That's fair. So their chance to defend or at least delay till everyone's up is too high, but you're drafted for objective clear here. Might as well speed through it.
Yeah, we're also like our comp is really good at killing off protected like the Punisher jumps. So if it gets on literally anybody and they don't like unstop it, we can just kill, right? I can blink on it and combo and then just blow them up.
So as your march for victory begins here, how would you recommend new players come to Kerrigan, and is there any build changes you would suggest while they get under get their legs?
I would say definitely like practice combos a lot. If you can't land your combos, you're gonna be pretty rough. So play a lot of like quick matches or AIs or something with Kerrigan. This build is probably the build you want to go with if you're like new. Maybe a different 20 would be easier. Maybe Maelstrom would be easier if you're having trouble landing that. Just less sort of skill shots to line up, but definitely like get the combos down. If you can't combo, you're gonna have a rough time playing the hero.
Would you say this is about where you should be on damage when you look at yourself and kind of say, I did a good job? Like high, middle of the road, not quite the ranged assassin?
Yeah, probably like definitely not as much as your ranged hero. I mean, it honestly, like your damage numbers don't matter that much, especially in competitive. I mean, in like lower ranks, it might be a bit different, but if your damage number is super high on Kerrigan, it's kind of weird because if you're doing a ton of like, you should just be killing stuff, right? Why aren't you just killing stuff off your combo? So yeah, like I wouldn't worry too much about your damage numbers. Obviously, if they're like you doing like actually like Brightwing levels of damage or something, then there might be a problem. But definitely like if someone's flaming you for having less damage than your ranged assassin when you're playing Kerrigan, just block them and move on or something.
It's a very powerful tool when you're learning to know not only are they wrong, but that you can just block them along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
So much of tilt for so many people just it comes from a lack of knowledge because they don't know that the person yelling at them is wrong in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, great rundown. Thank you for taking the time for joining me here for this replay review on Kerrigan. I was really excited to talk about Kerrigan today. Everyone here on the YouTube, like, subscribe, ring that bell. There's a lot of Learn to Play content coming up for Heroes of the Storm, but also, of course, that's CCL Season 3 on the horizon. We'll see you soon.